The deadliest war in human history is underway. Across Europe, Nazi Germany unleashes a terrifying new style of warfare, fast, coordinated, and ruthless. Behind every tank advance and aerial assault is something even more powerful than weapons: information. The Germans coordinate their forces using radio messages encrypted in complex codes they believe are unbreakable. But in a quiet English countryside estate, far from the battlefield, a secret war is being fought, one that could decide the fate of the entire conflict. This operation is so sensitive, so dangerous, that it carries the highest security classification of the British Empire, Ultra. By 1940, Britain stands alone. The British Isles are under constant air attack and completely dependent on supplies arriving by sea: food, fuel, ammunition. If those ships stop coming, Britain falls. And they are stopping. In the North Atlantic, German U-boats are sinking merchant ships at a terrifying rate. Convoys vanish beneath the waves. Sailors call it the glückliche Zeit, the happy time. In October 1940 alone, convoy SC-7 loses 20 out of 35 ships. At this rate, Britain's factories will grind to a halt. Its people will begin to starve. Every U-boat attack depends on radio communication, messages sent using naval Enigma, the most complex encryption system the Germans have ever built. And this is the problem. At Bletchley Park, British codebreakers have already cracked the Enigma codes used by the German Army and Air Force, but the Navy is different. Naval Enigma uses stricter procedures, more rotors, more combinations. In 1940, the Navy increased its code wheels from 5 to 8, exploding the number of possible settings from 60 to 336. Even the head of British intelligence believes it can't be broken. But one man disagrees. His name is Alan Turing. From Hut 8 at Bletchley Park, Turing leads the attack on naval Enigma. He believes the code can be cracked, but only if its hidden layers are exposed. He discovers something crucial. Naval messages are encrypted twice using secret bigram tables that change every single day. Without those tables, breaking naval Enigma is almost impossible. Then, on April 26, 1940, something extraordinary happens. First breakthrough. A British warship captures a German naval trawler. On board, bigram tables printed on red, water-soluble paper. They were seconds away from being destroyed. That single capture allowed British codebreakers to read 6 days of German naval communications, 6 days of insight into the enemy's movements. But when the tables expire, the silence returns. The Atlantic remains a killing ground. The race is now clear. Either Britain breaks naval Enigma, or the U-boats will starve the island into surrender. And time is running out. The capture of German code material offers a glimpse of victory, but it's fleeting. Within days, the bigram tables expire. The Atlantic once again goes dark. At Bletchley Park, frustration mounts. Without fresh codebooks, naval Enigma remains just out of reach, and every day lost means more ships sunk, more sailors drowned, more pressure on a nation already fighting for survival. Desperate for a breakthrough, Hut 8 turns to a dangerous guessing game. They create cribs, predictable phrases likely to appear in German messages, weather reports, coordinates, routine naval language. To generate these cribs, the Royal Air Force lays sea mines in carefully chosen locations. When German ships radio warnings about the mines, British listeners are ready. But without the bigram tables, even perfect cribs aren't enough. Naval Enigma refuses to yield. Winter of failure. Through the winter of 1940, U-boats continue their deadly hunt. Captured documents trickle into Bletchley Park, but never in sufficient quantity. There are moments of hope, isolated breaks, short windows of clarity, but nothing lasts. By early 1941, the situation in the Atlantic is once again approaching disaster. Then, in March 1941, everything changes. Off the coast of Norway, British forces seize a German armed trawler, Krebs. On board, intact Enigma message key tables. For the first time, WWII can read naval Enigma for weeks, not days. It's still too slow to save convoys in real time, but it's enough to do something far more important. They reverse engineer the bigram tables. Naval Enigma is no longer a mystery, it's a machine that can be studied, predicted, and hunted. The weather ship weakness. Then, codebreaker Harry Hinsley spots something extraordinary. German weather ships in the Atlantic send short, standardized Enigma messages, simple forecasts broadcast to every U-boat at sea. These messages are predictable, repetitive, and perfect for cribs. Even better, they come from ships that can be captured. The Royal Navy moves quickly. The perfect haul. In early May 1941, the German weather ship Munich is seized. Weeks later, Lauenburg is captured as well, its crew abandoning ship before destroying the codebooks. Then comes the jackpot. On May 9th, HMS Bulldog boards a damaged U-boat, U-110, in the middle of the Atlantic. Inside, an Enigma machine, current codebooks, signal keys, all intact. Now, everything comes together. Captured material, reverse-engineered bigram tables, an expanding library of cribs, and rapidly improving code-breaking techniques. By the summer of 1941, WWII is breaking the German Navy's Enigma network, known as Dolphin, again and again. On September 20th, 1941, the impossible happens. Naval Enigma is broken every single day, and it will remain that way for the rest of the war. Impact on the war. With advance warning of U-boat movements, Allied convoys are rerouted away from danger. The results are immediate. From March to June 1941, U-boats sink 282,000 tons of shipping every month. By July, losses drop by more than half. By November, just 62,000 tons. Britain's Atlantic lifeline survives. The German Navy's most powerful weapon has been neutralized, not by battleships or bombs, but by mines working in silence. Yet even as victory looms, a new problem emerges. The codes are changing faster than humans can keep up. To win this war of information, the Allies will need something revolutionary, a machine.
Breaking naval Enigma is a triumph, but it comes at a cost. German procedures tighten, keys change faster, messages flood in by the thousands. Pencil and paper code breaking, once enough, is now obsolete. Every hour of delay makes intelligence useless. A decoded message about a U-boat attack means nothing if the ships have already been sunk. To survive, the codebreakers must move faster than humanly possible. Alan Turing has been preparing for this moment for years. Before the war, in the quiet halls of Cambridge University, he imagines a radical idea. A theoretical device capable of solving any problem through logic alone. He calls it a universal machine. At the same time, Polish mathematicians, most notably Marian Rejewski, develop an electromechanical device called the bomba, designed to search Enigma's possible settings. Turing sees the future, and he builds on it. At Bletchley Park, Turing designs a new machine, the bomb. It doesn't decode messages directly. Instead, it hunts. By testing thousands of Enigma configurations at lightning speed, the bomb searches for the one setting that makes sense. The first model, Victory, is installed on March 18, 1940. It works, but not well enough. A single bomb can test 17,576 possible Enigma settings in just 10 minutes. But success creates a new problem. The machine generates too many stops, possible solutions that still have to be checked by hand. Each stop costs precious time, and in war, time kills. The breakthrough comes from another brilliant mind, Gordon Welchman. He notices a flaw in Enigma itself. The plug board is reciprocal. If A is connected to B, then B must be connected to A. Welchman designs an add-on circuit, the diagonal board, that exploits this weakness. The effect is dramatic. False solutions vanish, processing time collapses. The bomb becomes a weapon. The typical bomb stands 2 meters tall, weighs over a ton, and contains 19 kilometers of wiring. Its spinning drums replicate multiple Enigma machines simultaneously, relentlessly tearing through possibilities. Built in secrecy, under bombing raids, with wartime shortages, the bomb is a technological miracle. And it works. By the end of 1941, Bletchley Park operates 6 bombs. More arrive in 1942, then dozens more spread across outstations throughout England. By war's end, nearly 200 bombs are running around the clock. Enigma traffic from land, sea, and air is now being broken at industrial scale. But machines alone aren't enough. From March 1941 onward, the bombs are operated by the Women's Royal Naval Service, the Wrens. The work is exhausting. The machines are deafening, they leak oil, they demand constant precision. One mistake and hours of work are lost. Once settings are found, messages are decrypted using Type-X machines, British Enigmas modified to mimic the originals. Still, every decrypted message is only a fragment. The real work, understanding intent, falls to human minds. For the first time in history, machines are being used to wage war on information itself. The bomb doesn't just break codes, it changes the future. And its legacy will extend far beyond World War II, into the birth of the modern digital age.
By 1941, the impossible has happened. Across land, sea, and air, the Allies are reading the enemy's most secret communications, often before the orders reach German commanders themselves. This intelligence is given a name so secret that even most generals will never hear it spoken aloud. Ultra. But with this power comes a terrifying problem. If the Germans ever discover their codes are broken, Ultra dies instantly. Every success must look like luck. All Allied commanders now face a brutal dilemma. If a convoy suddenly avoids a U-boat ambush, suspicion arises. If a German attack is countered too precisely, questions follow. Sometimes, ships must be sacrificed, men allowed to die, to protect the secret. Ultra-intelligence is never cited directly. Instead, it is laundered through fake reconnaissance flights, chance patrols, or invented informants. Victory must be hidden. In North Africa, Ultra begins to reshape an entire campaign. Axis forces under Field Marshal Erwin Rommel depend heavily on radio communication across vast deserts. Bletchley analysts intercept Italian and German messages revealing supply shortages, fuel crises, and planned offensives. British commanders now know when Rommel will attack, where he will strike, and how long he can sustain the advance. The result is a turning tide in the Desert War. Ultra's power isn't just mechanical, it's human. In March 1941, codebreaker Mavis Lever spots something strange in Italian naval traffic. A message contains no letter L. Since Enigma can never encode a letter as itself, she realizes the operator is sending a test signal, repeating the letter L. That single mistake reveals the wiring of the Italian Enigma rotors. Soon after, Ultra uncovers Italian naval plans near Greece. In March 28, 1941, the Royal Navy springs a trap. At the Battle of Cape Matapan, British ships ambush the Italian fleet at night, sinking 3 heavy cruisers and 2 destroyers. The Italians never understand how the British knew, but Bletchley does. 2 months later, Ultra helps locate the most feared warship in the world, the Bismarck, pride of the German Navy, a floating fortress. Intercepted messages narrow her position in the North Atlantic. On May 27, 1941, the Royal Navy catches and sinks the Bismarck. Another myth shattered in total silence. Not all intelligence brings victory. As Germany invades the Soviet Union, Bletchley intercepts SS communications describing mass executions of civilians, particularly Jews. The codebreakers read the truth in real time. But exposing these crimes risks revealing Ultra. Silence would protect the secret. Speaking out could save lives. Prime Minister Churchill makes a rare decision. He chooses to speak. In public speeches, he reveals the scale of Nazi atrocities without disclosing how Britain knows. Ultra remains hidden, but the world is warned. On December 7, 1941, Japan attacks Pearl Harbor. Days later, Hitler declares war on the United States. The conflict explodes into a truly global war. Bletchley Park now faces new enemies, new codes, and an unprecedented volume of data. And then, disaster. Suddenly, the Atlantic goes quiet. U-boat messages can no longer be read. A new Enigma variant has entered service. Once again, the Allies are blind, and this time the fate of an entire invasion hangs in the balance.
In late 1941, something terrifying happens at Bletchley Park. The messages stop making sense. U-boat transmissions flood the airwaves, but none can be read. Every attempt to break them fails. The Atlantic has gone dark. The German Navy has deployed a new Enigma system, one more rotor, new procedures, no warning. For the first time in months, the codebreakers are blind. The 4-rotor Enigma. This new machine, later called Shark, adds a 4th rotor to naval Enigma. That single change multiplies the number of possible settings beyond the reach of existing bombs. Cribs don't fit. Bigram tables no longer align. Welchman's diagonal board can't compensate. Ultra intelligence on the Atlantic collapses overnight. The cost of blindness. With no warning of U-boat positions, German submarines strike with renewed confidence. American ships, new to the war, are especially vulnerable. The U-boats return to the surface at night, silhouetted against brightly lit coastlines. The Germans call it a second happy time. Ships burn within sight of land. Crisis of confidence. At Bletchley Park, morale falters. Years of progress erased in a single procedural change. Some fear this is the end of Ultra's dominance. If naval Enigma cannot be broken again, the Allied supply lines, essential for any future invasion of Europe, may collapse. Rebuilding from nothing. But surrender is not an option. Turing and his team analyze the new traffic relentlessly. They study patterns. They wait for mistakes. At the same time, British engineers begin redesigning the bomb, pushing the machines beyond anything they were originally meant to do. Bigger, faster, more powerful. Help from across the Atlantic. The solution will require allies. In the United States, American cryptanalysts and engineers join the effort. At the National Cash Register Company in Dayton, Ohio, massive new bombs are constructed, faster and more advanced than their British counterparts. For the first time, code breaking becomes a fully industrialized transatlantic operation. The long wait. Month after month, the blackout continues. Every convoy sails in uncertainty.
Every loss cuts deeper. But Bletchley knows something the Germans don't. Perfect security is impossible. The crack appears. Slowly, small weaknesses emerge. Routine messages, predictable phrases, human error. By late 1942, fragments of meaning begin to surface. The door to Shark Enigma is no longer sealed. The Allies have survived the blackout, but victory is still far from secure. Ahead lies the greatest deception operation in history, in an invasion that will depend entirely on secret intelligence. If Ultra fails again, everything fails.